It's thank you, Chimo. Okay, let's start here. I'm okay. I'm lost. So I'm lost. You know why I'm lost? Because I still think I'm on my floating head. And therefore now I'm confused about this. So I'm the
It's a
floating
very
head
nice
of
effect.
Manolo.
It's
Yeah.
a nice effect.
Um, so for those that are not present today, you're watching the recording. Today we're going to talk about this change of speed that is affecting us as a human in producing everything, basically, from content to software to business ideas to innovation and so on. The idea here is not to, I got my ideas, of course, but the idea here is to share and work together in trying to build an opinion about how to deal with this reality. I'm going to introduce this reality a little bit deeper and share my thoughts, but I want to give a chance to there are Bianca, that is the first time that join us, and this All Humanity Foundation, which I'm not sure if joined already once, but yeah, to introduce yourself so we know who you are within the community, what you're doing, what's your dreams, what you're building, and yeah, why you're here.
Well, I don't remember how long ago I got signed up with and downloaded ResonantOS, but I just like everything that you kind of had to say, and it seemed like going in the kind of direction that I would want to go. Um, I mean, the main thing that I'm personally using AI for right now is I work in an interior design business, and the software that we utilize is just makes me want to pull my hair out. So I've been creating my own interior design project management software using AI and all the tools that we have right now. But I am barely even scratching the surface with OpenClaw and Resident OS. Like I keep kind of putting some sort of things in there and adding different features and stuff, but I've barely even scratched the surface thus far. But
Okay.
I'm excited to be here and see how it all grows, which is just going so fast.
It is, it is. Thank you for your introduction. And all humanity, are you there?
Hello, guys. Sorry, no videos. I'm at work.
Okay.
I'm watching you from beginning, starting at January. Play with no limits to everything. Just completely dive in with you and like when you share all these thoughts because yeah, it's a small community at the end right now. I'm glad some people j joined this journey. Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to have you here. So, il, again, this I'm going to share my experience. Okay, this has been going on for for a period. Well, already AI is been accelerating us, and this acceleration was creating some shift in the way that we think, we produce, and so on. So the was kind of removing friction in the sense you had an idea, you ask AI to build it, and then you have it. Okay, so you work with AI, you brainstorm an idea, then you have a document already. Okay, you give a little idea to AI, a little business idea, and the AI just the first thing it does is give you a business plan. So it's kind of it felt like too fast. And as a creative, I realized that wait a second, I to find my identity, to find my style, I need time. Okay, time is really important. You know, the friction of time. You know what I play with analog synth. I make music with them, so I need to connect them through those wires and so on, find the sound, create the sound, and then make music. All that time allows me to find my identity. Okay, I experiment with those things, and I'm stop experimenting when I find my identity, my style, and so on. So that requirement of friction create a time gap that allows me to find my creative style, my voice, my identity within that creative space. So I started noticing that AI, by working with AI, that really accelerate this. If you don't inject friction to slow it down in some part, of course, not in everything, but in some part, in some moment, by slowing it down, then you give yourself a chance as a human to develop your idea. Because otherwise, remember this thing that AI just pushes us towards the average. So if each one of us don't stop a little bit and try to find, your identity within the space, all of us we're gonna go towards the same result. Okay, because that is gonna be led by AI, not by us. So I'll start to think about this friction. And then about because this really come from this the use of analog reality. Okay, so I started try I started to add the friction on everything. Let me see, yeah, I got in my hand. So I started using the those kind of pens, right? So the fountain pens. So start writing on paper, and so try to find a way to really slow myself down, and then you start enjoying. Oh, I really love the way that I write. Actually, that is it's pretty much see. But looking at this, the ink and so on, change the way that you think. So the fact that you think something become a gesture, and that gesture is actually beautiful, then interact with your brain. So I start analyzing those elements. I know that that's pretty far from AI, but that is the thing. Okay, so AI is removing all those analog friction. So I start injecting them into my life to try to find, more about myself, my voice, uh, my identity. And then there was this other element that I realized that I don't know if you read what's the name, the newsletter today. I call it the Mixtape Constraints. So looks like the most of us are in the age where we used to use the mixtape, right? The tape cassette. Nobody say yes, only Tom. Okay, okay. A few of us use it, right? So
Yes.
this tape was kind of beautiful. Beautiful on one side, on the other, I hate it because I'm a technology person. For me, the idea of a tape that is so had so much friction. My brain already was thinking, yeah, I need to be able to jump between songs. Okay, like the CD idea, the digital part. But the mixtape was, I remember myself, going there and select the song to put inside this tape, and then I would take those tape with me on my Walkman, and play. So it was a really idea of selecting. Now we have those phones with unlimited music because we can stream it. So the selection, there's not much care about it. Okay, you might make a compilation, you still do it. Okay, some people still do it, fortunately, but most of the time is what is suggesting the algorithm to you. That's what you're gonna watch. This is what you're gonna listen to, and so there's we lost the ability of curating our our system, our entertainment in this case of music, but in the case of software and in this speed that we have, we have so many AI tools that we just let's use them all. Okay, let's learn, let's use them. There is this idea that a new AI tool is going to change your life, and maybe it might be true, but we are losing the curating aspect that again create our identity. That moment that we slow down and try to curate what kind of a software I need, and in some cases I'm building it, like. Basically, all of us that are here, we are building our own AI. Okay, we are those AI artisans that put together things and then we customize it for our needs. So we are still somehow feeling this need of the mixtape era where we build what we want, which is good. But the industry on the other side is pushing us not to do it. Okay, you need to actually adopt the latest version, and I see hands moving. Ah, maybe it's my hands. Sorry, it's the interface was saying me that I was lifting my hand. I can't even move. I just need to be ahead. Um, and then this other point was the what we're building. Okay, what I realized, in those months, that I need, in reality, I don't need everything. I need this AI that I can trust. I need one AI that I can trust, because from there I can start. Unless I can trust this tool, you know, I mean, I'm not in control, because when you have something that lies to you, that don't do what you ask, it's like having a partner that works for you, a colleague that is inside your business, that is lying to you, that is not doing the job, that is breaking things. It's kind of frustrating. And think about, I was thinking the other day, if it was a human, we wouldn't be so accepting this reality. Okay, because this AI, it lies to us, and we still say, yeah, yeah, it's okay. Let's change, let's improve. I mean, if it was a human, after 100 times of lying to me, I would say, just say, that's enough. We can't work together. Okay, that is not possible. That is not. We can't work together like this. But we still give AI a chance, which is nice from us as a human, and hopefully I will remember this moment. But at the same time, to our brain, it's not normal. Okay, to always carry on dealing with this kind of uh, tool entity that is not honest in us. They don't care. That the most upsetting thing for me here is that I'm building the thing that is the most important thing in my life. Okay, I'm working that thing, and AI doesn't care about it. And I'm not in the sense of as a human would care. Okay, AI cannot care. They don't have this emotion, but they don't care in the sense they don't pay attention. They just treat everything in the same way. So they don't try to understand the human intention, the human connection to their business, and say, okay, this is important level 1, this is important level 5, this is important level 10. Okay, they treat everything the same. So you give something that for you is extremely important, and they don't care. They just, okay, yeah, done. That's sorted. Okay, I did a quick fix. Now you can go carry on working. That kind of behavior is painful for me.
But it apologizes. It does apologize.
Yeah, fake,
I,
right?
I love when it apologizes. It says, "I'm sorry. That's my bad that I really
Yeah,
messed everything. I lied to you. I didn't do my
exactly.
job." I'm like, "Stop. Who programmed the apology? Because that's not helping me."
Exactly. I don't want to apologize. I just want to do one thing. Just do what I say. Okay, it would be that simple.
Oh.
But yes, that is not happening. So going back to this idea, what is happening, what is going on here? It's this incredible speed put us in a scenario where how can we interact with this? In the sense now AI is building itself. It starts building itself, and is every single company now use AI to improve their product. So this is an acceleration that is beyond what we are used to, and is accelerating on top of something that is fundamentally broken. So everything that is being built is fragile. So create this environment of uh, insecurity, fragility, instability, and maximum speed. Okay, so it's for me when I say, for example, on Resonant OS, we I developed this Resonant OS. I share with the community. The community started using it. We found out a lot of bugs, and some people can use it. Sometimes on some other system is broken, and then we put together a team and say, okay, let's fix it together and have a more stable scenario. So I gave this new alpha version that for you that you are not part of the tech team, you haven't seen it. Okay, this is inside the development department, let's say. So we are now working with this new alpha version, But while you guys are working on this alpha version, that now is already, let's say, 2 weeks or something, OpenClaw is being updated 6 times. Okay, that's the thing. So we have OpenClaw is being updated 6 times. Personally, I had to adjust the software to work with the new version. So I personally also updated a series of time. So what is happening is that there is a drift, a constant drift, because at this speed, in theory, we should say, okay, it's worth if something get updated every 2 3 days, because that is the speed of to which we receive those updates. How much time we should spend to stay in sync with the reality? In theory, hours, not days. Okay, in theory, I should say, okay, I should invest, for example, 2 3 hours every 2 3 days to stay in sync with the system. But this is not happening, okay? Because we as a human, as a collective, we are spending days, and therefore we are shifting away from the reality. Okay, a reality. I'm talking in this example that we can feel ourselves of OpenClaw being updated 3 4 times a week at the moment. That's more or less the speed. Let's say just say 10 times a month. Okay, so it get updated so fast that if we spend a month later, basically we are a new version. Okay, it's completely something completely new, completely drift away from reality. Then we need to think about the plus. There are new models that get joined. That those new models resolve maybe problems that we were trying to fix ourselves. So a new model resolves something. OpenClaw resolves something else. Okay, so unless you build a structure that is capable of dealing with that speed, you're gonna be always behind, probably always behind, or you need to really work hard to stay in sync. So how we as a human deal with this? That is a question that we should ask ourselves. I got my ideas. I'm gonna share those ideas, but there is this problem of first the first step is understanding the problem. Okay, so think about how it used to work in the past. Okay, we used to have updates that would last, I don't know, at least 6 months, but we used to have rounds of 1 year. Okay, the new version come out once a year, and that with all major software with micro updates during the year just to fix some elements, to refresh something. But the major release would be once a year. And that would be for a lot of things, because we as a human we think in year cycles, okay, the season and so on. At the moment, AI is not doing this. It's doing, honestly, it's new models every 2 3 months, updates, new tools on a daily base. It's on that. This is a reality of instability. So how do we deal with it? That is something that we need to think. So when I was little, I remember I came out with this thing that I still still remember, because for me it was so clever. Maybe it's basic, but for me it was so clever because I was little, so it was extremely powerful for me. Uh, in in a stable environment, we can build. Okay, in unstable environment, we create. So for me, as a creative, I've always been looking for instability. So a place where there was no need for stability. Okay, for me it was as a creative, because you find that place much more inspiring. Okay, something that is not stable, therefore you can play with it. Okay, you can adjust, and it's really inspiring for a creative person. It might be stressful for others. Okay, but for a creative person, it's a place where, okay, nothing is stable, therefore I have the freedom to change things. Okay, and that uh, is the approach that during all my life I've been chasing. Okay, that instability. So now but always I was always aware about the idea. Okay, but if you want to build, so let me explain this thing. I was not always aware, but when you guys start to become older, then you think, okay, now I'm 50, maybe it's time to build some stability in my life, and then you start thinking, okay, so to build something, okay, you need some stability, and then you realize that okay, for building stability, you need whatever, job, money, whatever. Okay. So there is a completely different kind of environment for these two scenarios. Now, this is what is happening with AI and businesses. We are moving from something that is stable, where was building was kind of the normal. Now we are going into a reality that is unstable, where creating maybe is inspiring, but building is complicated. So I have my idea of how to solve this problem, but I'd like to hear first your impression. I'm not looking for a solution. I'm looking at the moment to hear from you. What if you realize about this problem? If what do you think about it? If you felt, if it's more today. It's more about not technical solution. It's more about human reaction to the problem, human intuition, and so on. So I don't know if any one of you want to share something. And first of all, hi to Alan and Hans that joined. And welcome back, Bianca. I was worried that you left. You're in the car. You're muted, though. You're talking, you're muted.
Hey, sorry about that.
Um, so, anyone want to share their impression, idea about this problem that I was explaining? Including the fact that you might don't see this problem. It's just me. Andreas, no, Andrew.
Well, Manolo, I'll add if you don't mind then, unless someone else has. So I do the same thing. I have a notebook, and I think that's one of the tools that I use as well. Um, I find I fill the notebook up very quickly, right? And I have to keep up with what I'm driving towards, or else like you said, you end up drifting because as a developer, it's shortened one piece of the cycle to this, right? The development cycle part for me. So now it's just idea, execute, idea, execute, idea, execute. And if you keep doing that and you're not careful about it, you have a big stack of things that you've built all around you. And you end up, um, just getting lost and rabbit trailing a little bit. I have to keep myself personally from doing that, especially when I don't know if you guys experience this, but your AI will work wonderful for a while, right? Until you run into some issue, right, that you're not aware of. Maybe your memory fails you or whatever happens, or you just get sloppy. So when it's flowing well, man, you're really, really, really moving. But when something happens, um, you really get thrown off track, and sometimes it can be frustrating. Um, the speed of development is great, but then you get frustrated because you do sometimes find yourself in a position where you have to clean up a little bit. So I do use a notebook tool myself and other uh, essentially just project tracking tools. I'll track myself, right? I'll build a project and I'll say, here are the 5 things I need to do, and then I tick them off myself and just watch myself. So a little bit more structured work uh, techniques is what I'm trying to use to get past that.
Thank you, Tom.
Hey Tom, it's very similar for me. Like I have this, and the reason I always have to have, I need something that's static because what'll happen is I myself will get drifted. It's like when Manolo says when he talks about like the North Star. What I find is that I'll set whatever project, I'll include the AI, and I'll tell the AI, this is where we're heading. Here's the North Star. But what happens is if I don't constantly have that static version of it, then AI is never going to stick to the North Star. It seems like, I mean, like maybe that's what the whole thing that we're mitigating is. We need to have the single source of truth that like helps with that. But sometimes I just find that, and because I don't have those kind of mechanisms in like the way I do things, just because I haven't built it out yet. But I actually am very interested in like the it's fun to kind of play when you have the time, especially in the beginning, like how do we get to that North Star? I don't mind that so much. But when we start a course and it gets dialed in, one thing I've noticed is my mental energy might go down, and then I will stop being present with the process and I'll start making assumptions about like what AI is doing. And it happens when I'm writing a lot, is where like I'll want the AI to fill in the part that I think is just the easy part. And invariably the AI will change course in that section that I need it to write. So I guess in a nutshell, like that's sort of what we're dealing with. Like if we know where we're going, in the sense of like we want to get to that point out there, but even like this idea of like the constant pressures that's coming from the technology that we need to like deal with all the present motion that's occurring. If we can somehow stay static in the sense of like, well, we're going to stay in this lane and we're going to go to this point. And even though there's all kinds of things, if we're going to mitigate the product constantly, it's going to be a lot of busy work that's going to become redundant in such a short amount of time that it's better to like look at the longer game. Because I don't think the issue that we're dealing with, like it's new in that this is AI, this is human progress, technological advancements at breakneck speed that it's impossible to keep up with. But at the same time, it's not a new problem of like, here's a quick example, just not to monologue too long, but like I'm involved in like something called sustainable philanthropy in the Caribbean. And we're like we're in an area where they're building a brand new resort, like the next Cancun in the Dominican Republic. And right now, they're building an international airport. The cruise ship port is built. They're building 18 500-room hotels. And the price last year, I could buy a lot for about, let's say, about $12,000. And this year, it's about $22,000, the same lot. So we have this pressure to hurry up and get everything done. And in one sense, it's true. We have to buy land now because the price is going up. But the equation actually stays the same because if you buy a year from now, it's going to be X amount of dollars. And if you sell it a year later, you're still going to have that same margin of profit. So there's urgency, but at the same time, the equation allows for us to not have to like kill ourselves to buy or to rush ourselves into a situation that the trajectory of for instance all of the things that are happening in this resort area, it's going to keep going for 10 years. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Okay.
Thank you. A couple of things that I would like to say about this, the North Star and the direction. So yeah, like you, I needed to design this North Star so I could go where I want to go without drifting because there is so much. The thing is, sometimes again, as an explorer, as a creative, you want to drift a little bit, okay? Because in that drifting, also you discover new things and you find your identity. Okay, that is exploration and so on. But at the same time, you don't want to get lost. And one thing that is I was noticing in me, going into this area world of high exploration where it's completely uncharted water. So everything you touch is new. It's like so exciting, but also you live inside this AI that has that is probabilistic world. Okay, in that probabilistic world where everything is even drifting even more because everything is a probabilistic, it's nothing deterministic, nothing is certain. Okay, so even your north star start to shake. So everything start to shake in their reality. Okay, and what I found really important is if you want to see where you are, it's not just looking where you want to go, but you need to triangulate your position. So you need some anchors in your life. Okay, without them, you have no way to stay still. Okay, to know where you are, you really are. So I said, okay, so what are my my anchors? So I start thinking, okay, it's my music, it's my dog, it's my family, okay, family and so on. So you start seeing, okay, those elements, even though even them are moving because nothing is static, but at least I have, I have a reference, my dog mainly. I got something that I can use to triangulate my position and see how I'm moving towards in my direction to the North Star. So that I find really useful when you are spending so much time with AI that is probabilistic and everything is in constant drift. That's why I came out with this single source of truth. Okay, because you need to anchor it down. Okay, there must be some truth between you and I. Okay, from between me, human, and you, AI, must be some truth that we agree with. Okay, and cannot be something that you say because I don't trust about what you say. It has to be a document that we have in common. So we say this is the truth for both of us. Okay, if something changes, we update the truth. Okay, so we have one single place where we can agree with. So that was my strategy. So all humanity, you raise your hand. You want to say?
Yeah, it's interesting to hear you. Many things is around on the market, how all these people on labs experience the same problems as we are with uh, using that, like, and understanding how to use. So the skill issue is the number one problem for everyone, for Andrew Karpati, for me, for you. Looks like it's a thing where the most problem for humans because it's require you open to new tools, I mean to new experience and new thinking, and it's really hard to anybody. So it will be a problem number one, just to have a skill to use it, as same as electricity when it just show up, let's say on that way. Really hard.
Thank you. I call you all humanity, but I don't know what's your name. So yeah. Anyone else wants to add something or introduce yourself, Alan? I don't. I'm not sure we know each other.
No, I followed your LinkedIn posts quite frequently. I'm retired. I'm been in computers for almost 60 years now. And what I'm trying to do right now is develop a product that I started designing about 10, 12 years ago, looking at AI with the promise of helping me to code it, because I haven't coded for many years. And everything is changing so fast. Claude is better, Gemma is better, OpenAI is better, Google is better. Who knows what direction to take right now? And I was intrigued by this multi-model approach where you can design a framework where you can ask your question and it gets translated to all the different uh, LLMs to give you an answer that has more confidence. So that's really my interest.
Right. Thank you, Alan. Nice to have you here. Um, yeah, I mean, what we this is my belief. What we should build is something that is model agnostic. So if there is a new model coming out, we can swap it. Okay,
Yeah.
so at the moment, for example, let's say that we believe the Opus 4.6 is the best. We can use that one. As soon as there is, I don't know, a new model, we just replace it, and with minimum impact, we can get leverage uh, the best out of this always evolving technology. Uh, but including the open source that, like you said, they're getting better and better and better. Therefore, at one point, in some scenario, we can use those open source or even open source locally running models. Uh, Momir,
Hello, can you hear me?
yeah.
Yeah, I have some new headphones. I just wanted to comment, maybe just go to a little one step back, and I always want to kind of see and get to a conclusion, let's say, regarding the models. It's not only the model, it's a company. So let's say Anthropic. He has such a nice jump with this open claw whole story, and because of their mistake, they actually close the story that has gave them the very substantial kick, and raising in popularity. And this is also, let's say, for OpenAI. Their whole story is such they're talking all about the alignment in values, but I always want to see what are their values, and their whole story is I think New Yorker today brought out the story about Altman, and it is gonna we will find some very interesting stuff about these guys. So when I was deciding which model to use, it's not only the model, it's the company behind. So, for example, I don't know if you followed, this was my area of interest because of another project I was working on. You heard about Palantir, probably. It's this huge company that's having AI and these knowledge graphs and ontology and this whole heavy story, and they have an amazing solution. But for example, they got one big deal that raised them up for a government. But not many people knew that Google had to get that deal. But their employees said, if you take this deal to make a surveillance of you American people, we will just quit. So it's a culture of the company that you rely on. It's not. I don't see only one model is good at one thing, as you said yesterday, Manolo. Another is good at the other, and we can adapt and we can uh, adjust and the whole architecture and see how to get where we want with any model. All models are great. But my decision to use Google is because they have this policy that's very well known. They always give a lot of free. I was using so intensively in AI Studio without having this free, very very generous offer from them from very beginning. I wouldn't be here where I am now. So it's their policy. I also about the Gemini. It's not there is not so much buzz about Gemini, but as I was working, I discovered some amazing things that actually they didn't even advertise. So it's a kind of because to have an idea that we will in soon get to a stage where we can be really model agnostic and use any model that we choose, because models are different and some so tiny differences in prompts are making big changes. And when you know something, and when you get to know with the model, then you actually then you can build upon that because it's all new area and we are just discovering, and that's it. That's the name of the game. So just like a philosophy, and as I always approach, who is behind and what can we tell about it? For me, this what Anthropic did last. It's such a big disappointment. But they had, I told you yesterday, they had a backlash because these guys who made claw code, not Claude code, but claw code, which are using, they made it because they are pissed off for Anthropic, you know. So their attitude made big damage for them. So you know, and on the other side, if you look for Anthropic, they are bringing this mythos, they are bringing this Glasswing story, which is now few days out. So we will not be able to get their best model. It will be for the corporate, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were building and counting that they can get the same quality from Anthropic Opus 4.6, 7, 11, we were counting on it that it will be developed further. So I think that's also because we have to rely on some part on steady big models. Of course, that you were telling yesterday, there are interesting stuff about Kimi K2. There are interesting stuff about Quen. So there is also one I forgot. Never mind. There are a few open source models but anyway, now they are telling that this mythos can hack anything. And what about that? So the Mythos in 3 days found such a big holes in the Linux system that was used for the more than 30 years, and and nobody saw this flaws. So it's not only about we have to make an orientation where we are and to be kind of realistic, and we have to make some compromises, and then who we will decide to use. It's not only about efficiency because we have efficiency today, tomorrow is gone. But then you rely on values. And Google, I don't want to advertise Google. They have their own problems, and they're not so perfect. But Google had this old main slogan, do no evil. And this is something that's part of their corporate culture. So they cannot go against their own people, who are employed. And there are several cases that there was some no, revolutions inside when they want to make a bad decision. So this is also, I will stop here. I could talk about it maybe much more, but I think you understand what I
Yeah,
mean.
yeah.
It's
I totally get you, and I agree on what you say about Google. They're not perfect, but at least they push a lot of open source. They've been doing a
yeah,
lot during the year for that aspect, and I believe they are playing a different games here because they are huge and because they are looking for the bigger picture. They are
Yeah.
not doing these small fighting the Anthropic and OpenAI and the other are fighting. Google already have a longer term plan and they are playing their game. But I agree with you on the fact of looking who is the corporation behind the projects. And maybe it was a surprise for some, wasn't a big surprise for me, honestly. But we saw who is behind Anthropic. Okay, now it become evident. Okay, they're just selling a different narrative, but they are all the same. So it's another company like all the others that they just look after themselves and they
Yeah.
just play the card of being the good guys in this scenario, the one that they really look after uh, humanity and values and so on. In reality, it's just a narrative that sells better than another narrative. Okay, and I just want to say this thing because it really upset me. The fact that they say, if you see the the Twitter from their company employee and people that work there, we have this AI that is so dangerous. It manages to escape the sandbox. It manages to do this thing. So it's extremely dangerous, extremely powerful, but we have under control it. Okay, so they show the fear, okay, and then they say, we have under control it. This is marketing. There's nothing else. That is just
So cheap.
marketing.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's it. So, and they play the card of being the good guys. So that is the difference. So I agree with you. We should look at the company behind, but at the same time, there's no one company that I would feel like to connect my name with. Okay, so I'm
Exactly.
forced to play the game and say, okay, this is what we have. I'm not happy about any one of them. None. None of them are good. Okay, but this is the technology we have. So now I want to use this technology to build the future that they are destroying. Okay, that is the idea of what we're doing here. Michelle.
I just want to add what you just said because this is actually what I'm thinking because how long can we rely on them? Because to be honest, for me, I don't trust them. Even if I'm using, for now, I don't have the choice to use the technology because I don't have mine. But I wish I have like the money and the power to do it because, like you just said, we everything is updating so fast. We are now forced to choose. So we choose to keep moving, or we just left behind. And right now, for me, I don't like this situation even if I don't mind to work in an unstable situation as a creative, but this is a different question. I always keep in my mind is how long can I build and still rely on the company? Because right now I just building my own design team on with OpenClaw and ResonantOS. Yeah, I was using like Claude Opus, and I just received a message from my agent who's telling me, okay, now everything is broken. You need to change your LLM. So it just make me like think, okay, I don't want, I'm tired to, okay, now I have to look for the Chinese one because it's cheaper. Now I have to look the American one. But I want to find my own solution. I'm tired to rely on them. Is the problem is okay, how I can still keep building my own and don't get lost whatever update, whatever change they make, because right now, I think in 6 months, 1 year, the price of tokens is going to be crazy. And
Yeah.
come on, it's like what it's like from it's crazy because last month I spent like $100 just to set up nothing, just set up. No man, that's too much. That's too much. How much I have to? I feel like I'm just put money on the machine. Just okay, just one word. Okay, just one little. No, this for me
It's
is like
insane.
yeah, it's insane. So that's why what you say is like how this is really a question we cannot answer today, but we need to keep in mind how we can keep building without be affected by the outside in the updates in the corporation.
So I want to share. Thank you, Michelle. I want to share this my thinking. Okay, at the moment it's connected to an intuition, and I'm testing it because, like I said, I got this. I bought the hardware to test because I want to have my sovereign AI as well. So my intuition here is the while those corporations require an intelligence that is really high because they want to replace human, in our case, we don't want to replace ourselves. Okay, so what we need is not this extremely intelligence. We need an intelligence that is sufficient to follow our instruction. That would be already a massive win. Just do what I say, And then I tell you, I have the intelligence. I don't need to be replaced. I have the intelligence. I have the architecture. I have the ideas to tell you, do this. And then I got the final result. So our requirement of intelligence is much lower than those corporations. They need something to replace us. Okay, so they are really far away from being able to do so. But we are not that far away to actually have an architecture that if it's well structured, we can just delegate some work and automate this work for us, and that will make a massive difference. Another thing here is that we, through their marketing, we are kind of a victim of believing what they say, and we feel insecure in the sense, yeah, maybe this model is not good enough. I need the best model because this is my most important work. I need the best model to do it. And then you try the best model, and the best model doesn't work anyway. Okay, that's the thing. If you think like, okay, I got the top model, okay, I got the best scenario, spend a lot of money, do I get the result? No. So that's the point, okay? Because if you would get the result, then we'll say, okay, yeah, yeah, I see the difference. But you don't. Okay, so the problem is still there. Doesn't matter. So there is more an insecurity that they push of us and say, look, you need this. If you want to succeed, you need to do, work with the best. I'm testing it, and it's not true. I'm figuring out. Yeah, in some scenario makes a difference, but in most scenario, it's not. You can work with smaller model if your idea is clear. Okay, if you use AI to build for you, not AI to think for you. That is the big differences. Tom.
Yeah, thank you, Manolo. So, as you're studying these companies as they roll out their products and services, it's clear that they're all following the same approach that many software companies have followed, especially Microsoft. If you look at the lock-in model, right? You own the platform, you own the framework, you start gathering and owning the critical data that is necessary to make the system work. In our case, the SSOTs, right? Your project data, your personalized data, the things that are necessary that the AI needs to be able to make the system work. So they're clearly trying to get you to use their framework. They're clearly trying to get you to give them your data and then use their model. And then once you're inside of their ecosystem, inside of a corporation, you're locked in. I mean, it's going to be very, very difficult to pivot to another model or another framework or another system. And so they're all going for the same play, right? Full lock in, and that's what they're going for. But it's clear that in some companies, they're following along with this philosophy of replacing humans because if you're me, right, you're a software engineering manager, been doing it for 40 years, right? You walk into a company and you tell me, hey, I got this system and I can replace all of your engineers and all you need is 10,000 tokens. Well, now there's just three guys here, running a machine. And then later, they're going to get rid of those three guys. So the company will end up locked in as a corporation to the AI system, right? So if you eliminate all the people, replace the intelligence and the work, then man, then they can charge whatever they want. So, I mean, to me, it's really, it's that just casino effect, right? It's bright lights, it's pretty, it's attractive, but then you get deeper and deeper in, and you're just lost in that system. And so I think other companies, companies that I intend to work with and help, they're going to want to own their own data. They're going to want it to be private and sovereign because they do not want their accounting data or their proprietary personalized workflow information that is the basis of why their company is good. They don't want that stuff just shared everywhere. So, the ability to keep your data sovereign and have a localized internal framework and this whole thing about models, just look at Hugging Face. There are 2,500,000 models out there. And so for the last 2 weeks, I've been pulling down models training my own personalized model. And if you take a small model and you put a lens on it and you train it to be very, very specialized, and then you combine a handful of models, just as I mean, it's what they're doing, right? They're doing mixture of experts, right? This is the technique that they revealed in their code, right? Mixture of experts, local small models that have been very, very well trained and tuned. You don't need this giant rocket ship that they're providing, right? I keep going back to that model, right? It's if you want to use a token, you got to get in a rocket ship and go to the moon and come back, no matter if it's a simple token or a complicated token. And so, this push towards local and sovereign models is it's absolutely what I'm focused on, and the system that we're building enables that, right? And as you as you progress down this path and you look at, a new model here, a new model there, well, you have to start realizing the models will become commoditized, right? They're already to some extent commoditized, and so you have to use them and build them in a way that's it's going to be leveraged for you. And my overall guiding North Star right now is to get completely sovereign and local and not pay any tokens to anyone. And if to me, if that means if I have to have 5 machines running at home that I've tuned, I know that's very technical, but if I have to have 5 machines at home and then also a hybrid cloud where I have my own private models in my own private cloud, that's fine until the models get stronger and then I can run them local, right? Because the path is like this. We're just trailing one tier behind. Every time a new model comes out, the B tier models get stronger and stronger. So it's not just about the strength of the model, it's about the architecture, it's about the data, it's about the entire system you're building, which is why we're here, right?
Totally. Thank you, Tom. And yeah, this is the discussion that we need to have. How we need to test this thing and try to build a sovereign AI, total, ideally that run totally locally, but it does require a proper structure, proper architecture, proper awareness, because you're leveraging a lot of little ones. So you need to think how they should work together so you can achieve a lot. Um Before, sorry, Momir, just before we go there, we need uh, um, we need to go back a little bit about the discussion that we were doing, because no, we went towards the technical side again, talking about those models and so on. But we need to go back to our discussion that we were doing of this environment that is not stable for us to build like we used to do. So we need to think what would be the new way of building in this environment. So before we go back there, Momir.
I just wanted to have a quick comment. I was not proposing to rely in a way that we lock in with the, I don't know, whatever, Google, let's say.
Yeah, it was
You
clear,
know,
Momir, that part.
but it is about to have a consistent uh, continuity and to distill because I think that this is the best way absolutely to be able to train small models. It requires really substantial technical knowledge, but as much as I saw, but all models, even those which are open source, were made by distilling this big one, while we have a chance, because this will also probably close. So pull whatever we can from them, but in a way that doesn't break your whole strategy in halfway, only that. Okay, well, let's leave the technical.
Yes. Just to close on this. So there is one hope. Okay. We are, it's getting clear and clear that soon those AI models are going to be able to train themselves. Okay. So to do the self improvement. And that is where everything will change, also for the open source. Because the problem we have, like you said, we need to distill from the bigger one. But if we have, let's say, this stable one, and we are not able to distill from the bigger one because they find a way to protect themselves, Now we have this small one, okay, that can self-learn, but it learn on my specific data, on my specific job, on my specific
Yeah.
reality. So that one that is capable of working with me over years and keep improving, even though it's small, it really somehow in symbiosis with my work, my reality, and therefore it's going to be extremely efficient to help me with what I need. And again, remember that we don't need to replace ourselves, so we need an intelligence that is not as big as the one that they need. Okay, so even though we are always behind, that staying behind for us is not a big deal. Uh, so I want to go back a little bit because we have 25 minutes left. I want to go back on what we were talking about, this idea of building on this instability. So my thinking was for think about resonant OS in our case, so we all understand. So how can we do this? I was thinking there are different directions. Okay, I'm gonna say the direction that we could contemplate, and in some scenario would make sense, but maybe not for now. Is the idea that in somehow, if each one of us has an AI that can build, hi Sam, nice to see you. Uh, if we have this AI that actually can build, I don't need to give you the code. I just need to give you the direction, the idea, okay, the intuition. Look, there is this thing that we can do. Then you get your AI to build it for you. In this way, each one of us can just build the perfect machine for themselves. So it's just about being aligned on what we need. What is the strategy? What kind of architecture we tested as a collective that works? And then each one of us, it's maintain it through their AI. In some scenario, can work, but this require only the tinkerers, only the expert can actually do this. Not super expert, but the one that are confident enough and say, yeah, I can do it. This is I can vibe coding. But there's going to be some people that are new and they will not be able to join that kind of environment. So the other solution that I'm thinking in is we need to, for example, from Resonant OS, remove almost everything and keep as the basic element the community aspect. Okay, so the wallet and the DAO, basically the wallet that connects us to the DAO, and the tribe side of it. So how we build teams, and then the bounties is how we work together because there is things to do together. So if we make these three elements as the core of Resonant OS, in somehow we have the minimum requirement, which is the community. Okay, that is the basic element. Now all the rest can be seen as an add-on. Okay, I want the add-on to use OpenClaw. I want the add-on to use Hermes. Okay, I want to install the add-on to have the R memory, the R awareness, the R coder. Okay, all those agency that I was talking in the other video. I can have all of them as an add-on. Now, the system is going to be what is stable, okay, because it's built on the community, so it's something different. It's not built on the AI, it's built on the community. That part is stable. What instead needs to be added, keep updated, or replaced are all those add-ons. Why I'm saying this? Because, for example, in the latest version of OpenClaw, they changed the memory system again. Okay, so there is another level of memory system that made a part of Resonant OS, not all of it, but just a part of the memory system of Resonant OS redundant. So we don't need that part anymore. So the idea of turning on and off part of those modules is a way to say, okay, we have the core element that we all use to connect to each other, and then we have add-ons that you might need, you might don't need, that you might need until there is an update, and then therefore you turn it off. You see what I mean? So that is my thinking. Again, I don't have the final answer, but that could be a way for not just for Resonant OS, but for everybody to work inside this environment of extremely, I can't find the word, extreme instability. Uh, any thoughts about this?
It's a very hard thing to get this granular architecture in an area that you actually don't know, you know. It's a kind of new and always changing. This is so it's a very ambitious thing and actually I also but maybe also philosophically, I think that's the best way you told that we start from our own point, individual point. That's the thing that's stable. That's the thing that we will always have a motivation. Probably each of us has some own projects which we are driving. Of course, we are not now throwing it out because it's your space and your topic, and it would be counterproductive. But from our point of view, the highest motivation and the highest, let's say, capital that we build, it's individual. And it depends on the area because it's not all programming. Let's say I'm working with my brother, which is an architect, a real architect, building buildings. And we achieved some stuff which are kind of, you know, and so I can plug it in. That's why I'm here because I see your vision, I see your and I see the need for this what you're doing, sovereignty for all we are talking about, and I will take care about my area, you know, and 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 I will build it up, and it will grow, and I'm willing to give it free. I'm not doing it yet, but I will do the everything what I do will be open source because I don't see the meaning of keeping it up for as my precious. You know? So if we have this philosophical statement that we individual point of view is only universal thing that we can rely on. They have this anchor, and so and then we might if it's all clear, if it's all also there is a space to express your own point of view, then we might give us to some AI to check it all and say, okay, here is what we have. And maybe we don't have to break our head how to connect it because there is some more clever and intelligent entities, you know, which can calculate what we can never calculate. But and of course, if I have a feeling that this is what I want to share and give, it's there is a space for that. And of course, what you say, there is a equivalent of some kind of token which I can give, which I can rely on, which I can leave to my kids as a something that I give them for a future. And then it all can be, you know, we can leave this space because breaking the head with this architecture, I've been doing a lot of it as a project manager and seeing it all my life and you know a lot of projects look so and sound so great in the beginning, you know, and then it just gets more and more and more complicated because we try to keep it under to control, to keep it like a kind of perfect, you know. It never goes like that, you know. But maybe since we have this intelligence above us, certainly to be able to rely on it and trust it, then I give my all source code and say, okay, see what you can do, you know, to help anybody who might have a benefit of it, you know. And there is about the calculation and kind of effort and contribution, and it's not so complicated. There are this stuff we have it all, you know. It's just the paradigm from which we point. Start.
Thank you, Momir. So, just for clarity, the Augmentism manifesto, it tells about the different projects. So there is no the need to follow one project. It's about the diversity of ideas of building your own AI, your own system. So ResonantOS doesn't want to stop that part. What it wants to do is to allow people to actually build together, and in a way that they are all connected. So the need of actually having this diversity approach, the diversity of idea experimentation is wanted and encouraged by the manifesto itself. So we are building that direction. Now, what we are trying to say is I'm trying to understand. Hopefully, this call it made sense. At least for me, it's so clear that there is this level of instability that we are going exponentially more and more inside, to which we as a human we don't have a system to build inside that kind of environment. As a creative people, we do, okay, because that's just how we live. Okay, we always been living inside this uncertainty. Okay, because that is where the creativity happen. And that's why I was explaining at the beginning of this uncertainty is the world of the creative people. But then it is about sometimes balancing with moment of stability so you can actually build something. Otherwise, it's all experimentation, constant experimentation, and So now we are in a reality where things really are not stable long enough for us as a human to say, okay, I'm gonna spend 3 months on this. Yeah, 3 months is just in AI world. 3 months is everything's changed. Okay, 3 months ago we didn't even have Opus 4.6. Okay, now we are talking about Mythos. Okay, just think about this. Okay, now if it's just name for you doesn't make sense, but if you know a little bit, you know that we had an intelligence that was kind of good but not extremely powerful, and now we have something that apparently can break every kind of system. And okay, now I need to say this thing. It's just a little bit out of topic, but I need to say this thing. And is in the hands of a corporation, which is an American corporation. Their interest is to defend American uh, security needs and so on. And the rest of the world that don't have that thing have their system unprotected. Okay, where clearly there is a problem there. Okay, it is a big kind of problem in the sense, okay, now there is in theory, if that is true, that is so powerful, there is a corporation in America, they have the power to destroy any country. Okay, can go there, break any banks, break any software, and destroy any country. Think about this. Okay, that is the corporation that we have. As if it's true what Anthropic says that it is. Okay, now there is a problem there somewhere, something to think about. But anyway, in that scenario, that instead it creates even more instability for everybody in the world. Okay, so how do we build
If
something?
I could interject here,
Yes, please.
I see a lot of different topics that radiate from what Monir and what you just said. First thing I wanted to do was make the point that you have to make things as simple as possible. The more complexity you add, the more difficult it is for people to adopt and adapt to it. I had the idea that perhaps if we could create multiple flavors of whatever product you're talking about with all the add-ons, and say, okay, well, this is a configuration that is good for coding. This is a configuration that's good for generating videos. This is a configuration that's good for general searches. It seems to me that we could then choose one or a combination of these flavors to do what each of us wants without the um, complexity of having to build it ourselves. So that's one point I wanted to throw out. The other is that the, how do I say this? Um, the speed at which new models come out, which adapt, as you so rightly put earlier, we don't necessarily need all of the latest models to do a good job in coding. We don't necessarily need the latest model to do to develop the best search tool. It's a question of trade-offs. What do you want to do? How well do you want to do it? And what flavors do you want to pick in order to accomplish what it is you want to do? And the flavors would be basically download, press a button to set it up, and maybe answer one or two questions, and you're done. You have a working model. That's kind of how I feel. Speaking for myself, one of my software design principles is you don't put too many tools into the Swiss Army knife. It's better to have multiple Swiss Army knives, and you choose which one or ones best suit the job that you're going to use it for. I don't know if that helps anybody put things in perspective, but that's kind of what's coming to my mind.
Thank you, Alan. Yes, I tell you uh, my intuition about this. I totally agree with you. Okay, complexity doesn't help. In the same time, we are already in an environment that is pretty complex. So just to be part of this environment, you need a little bit of understanding of this complexity. Otherwise, you're stuck inside the ChatGPT interface. Okay, but if you want to go out of that one, it's unavoidable to that you need to face some complexity already. And this moment is, I believe, is a moment of these pioneers. Okay, those first explorer that are willing to face the complexity and the challenge of a broken system and build something with it. Then there's going to be a second phase where this is become more easy, become more stable, it's become more clear, and and will be different. Okay, so this lack of complexity is what is Google is building. Okay, so you open Gmail, there is AI. You open the calendar, there is AI. Then you open whatever you open with Gmail, with Google now, there is AI inside. Okay, so there is no need to install anything. There's no need to pay anything. It's all part of the system itself. And there are some amazing tools like Notebook LLM, I think it's called. Uh, so there is people that are building that way, and it makes sense, total sense. I don't think we, as a smaller community, smaller business of entrepreneurs and explorer pioneers, we are there yet. In the sense, for example, you work with OpenClaw. This is our experience. Okay, OpenClaw was, as soon as came out, was broken. I created because already designed this even before the OpenClaw came out. I had designed this memory system, so I implemented inside OpenClaw. It was stable for 2 weeks. OpenClaw did an update and broke it. Okay, then I fixed it, and then OpenClaw fixed their memory system. So my system was like uh, something that I could use or not use. Okay, it was more about a taste, a flavor, like you said, but was not resolving a big problem like at the beginning. So that is the environment that within a month, something that was extremely important become like an option. That is the so think about if that was a business model. So if that tool would cost, let's say, I don't know, just to say a number, okay, $100 to buy. So you build it over times, you do marketing, so on. You push it, people buy. A week later, it's not needed anymore. Okay, that is this where we're working. That's the reality where we're working. So that is something that we need to take in consideration. What is worth building at which time? So if it's something that is, it takes 2 hours to build, yeah, do it. If it takes 3 weeks, you need to think. Okay, that's what I'm saying. In an environment like this one, we need to understand what kind of architecture we need to build in the sense that can make sense for this high velocity environment. If just because the things are moving so fast, then we need to really understand that it's okay. 2 hours work makes sense because it's gonna be stable for at least 2 days. Okay, but then because for 2 days it's gonna be stable. Then you don't know. So 2 hours makes sense, and but a day, 2 days, it start to become risky. Okay, as from the business point of view, I'm talking about. Okay, so how do you deal with this, especially because like we see now we have people working on keeping the software updated. So even the time to, there is a new release, you trying to update, by the time that you finish updating the software there is a new release. Okay, that, that is the crazy part. So unless you structure an architecture that can deal with this kind of scenario, you are gonna always stay with a broken system because the architecture is broken. Okay, you are always stay behind, not by choice, but because you create an architecture that doesn't allow you to implement a reality where you say, okay, I don't care about stay go fast, or I don't know, I have an architecture that actually it's can update without that problem. So there is a lot of thinking that is cannot be left to the old strategy, because Alan, what you said make total sense if you have months, okay, of say, okay, I built this thing, and then for a few months it's gonna be working. Okay, reality here is that is not. Okay, that is the problem that we're facing. That is sometimes it's not gonna be able to work unless you stay really behind. You don't update to the latest model, you don't update to the latest technology, and therefore you become basically a fossil inside this AI environment, or you try to update and stay with the with the speed, and then the cost is insane. And then there is also the problem that maybe a new tool came out and replace you completely. And we saw this on and over and over. Okay, a lot of startups started with an idea and then got replaced by OpenAI. Say, okay, now I put this tool inside, and your startup doesn't, need to exist anymore. So that is the thing that we need to think. What kind of structure, architecture we need to have as a community to be able to have to build on top of this high velocities environment. While, so going back to the idea of the analog friction, so if we go too fast, then we don't have time to find our identity. If you remember, this is what I said at the beginning. Okay, so that is that's the discussion we should have. Momir.
Maybe there is a one question before what we actually want to achieve generally with that. Because if we are in the area of programming, we will always just catch the tail, But if if we are here to serve general people which don't have a clue what's going on, and will be actually find themselves in one moment that just kind of a very tricky and demanding to catch up because there will be no alternative. And if those people are in a, let's say, kind of more activities more on the ground, as I will just tell for architecture and construction business, nothing is happening in AI seriously, no. So uh, and it's a so and there are many people because people will have to go back into real world, and I think live stuff will get high price generally with people, because people get stuffed with this plastic artificial world, and so maybe some kind of overall strategy. Where are we? What is our goal? Maybe in some short term, middle term, and long term. Because if we want to catch up those guys, we will just get this hectic situation. But if we get into the areas which are underserved, then we can go more steady, maybe.
Thank you, Momir. So first of all, I'm sharing in the chat the Augmentism manifesto, because a lot of things are written there. To explain what we are doing with this community, we are building two things. Okay, one is the one AI that we can trust. Okay, because we don't trust. I personally don't trust any corporate AI. So because they don't work for me, they work for them. So I need one AI that I can trust, and then I use this AI to interface with everything else that is outside. So that AI for me is extremely important. Not right now, because we still manage, okay? But in a near future where every AI is going to be inserted in every single element, those AI will not work for you and will try to manipulate your ideas, okay? And that is we already see this through Facebook, through TikTok, all social networks are trying to do these things, but they are getting better and better to a level that they will have one AI dedicated for each one of us. And we need, I personally want to build an AI that I can trust. Okay, the AI that I can work for me, can protect me with the shield from external manipulation and so on. That is something that I think we need in a not too far future. Second, what we're building is this DAO, okay, which is a community of community that has a token economy that allow us to go through this transition between the world where we are living now and the world that is driven by AI, where most of the workers are gonna be AI or robots. Okay, so that reality where we are going, it's a completely a lot of uncertainty in that world, and nobody is trying to build an alternative to that one, because we have billions invested in those corporations to build an AI that replace humans. Okay, so with those billions, meaning that at one point they will achieve this. Okay, it's gonna happen. Maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but in 2, 3, 4, 5 years time, for sure it's gonna happen. Governments are not doing anything about this. It's gonna be part of whatever problem that someone will address when the problem exists. I mean, already exists, but we are on a exponential curve. So when it's quiet, means it's already late, and nobody's doing anything. Okay, so we say, okay, let's leverage the AI that we have, the technology that we have available to build this new reality. Okay, which is a DAO with a token economy. And Mumir, maybe you are, because you're new, you haven't been part of the discussion of the DAO, what we're building and how the token economy works. So we should have more meeting and discuss this part again. So we are building basically a financial system that is decentralized, that is connected to the contribution economy. The more you contribute, and more you rank inside this community, and more you are a chance to stay sustainable and access to product and service, and and work together. That is what we are trying to build. So mainly these two elements. Now, to build those two elements, there is some work. Okay, for the idea of the DAO in somehow is disconnected from the technology of AI, because you use Bitcoin technology. For, let's say, for the 90% of it is Bitcoin technology, so it's a blockchain technology. So it's somehow disconnected, and that's why I was saying that technology can be built because it's stable, and we can use it as a center point to connect the whole community together. Then the problem remain on this one single AI that we can trust. But maybe some people are not interested about it. I personally find it extremely important. So that's what I'm trying to build. So those are the two things that we are trying to do. Samuel. Sam? Yes.
Yo. So, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Cool. I was thinking about what you're saying about what people are building and what we want to build and what we're going to take as get accelerated away from us. In terms of if someone just builds it and we didn't have to build it anymore because they did it. Key example of that, which you cited, was OpenClaw. You were building your own thing last year. It was the thing you intended to build, and then someone built it. I had the same. I think we can take a couple of givens. The world wants trustful AI. The world wants smart AI. Everyone is going to be doing that. Everyone is trying to build a harness. They see the technology currently of where you can go with AI, what you can do with it, but they see all the problems. Everyone here sees all the problems, and we're all trying to solve them ourselves. So we can try and solve that, but we just get it working. Just bootstrap it. Just get the basics done. What we can do and what the world is not going to do, the world is not going to build the personal assistant with the detail of what Sam wants in his house, in his home for his family. The world is not going to make that. To make that well requires thought and requires precision and requires detail of your life. So what we want to do is we want to build a basic framework so that whatever we want on top of it can work, assuming that no one else does make it. But if someone else does make it, then we can just use whatever system we put on top of it, and we put our energy into defining and describing the framework of how a smart AI will build our personal system over that, so that when the smart AI comes out, we just say, cool, here is a complete intent document, a PRD, of me, of what I want, of what I want.
Suspense. We lost you, Sam.
An interactive program
No.
can use,
Yeah,
and all we need to do is design our programs and our systems of what we're going to make that system do when it comes out.
Sam, we lost you for a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
So we
lost
you. We lost you when you said what we want.
which is the key part. So what we want to do is we want to build a well-defined object that can describe what we want on a personal level, not the harness itself. We build a basic harness that just works just enough, and we don't put a huge amount of time into it, but then we put most of our time and energy into describing like the DAO, the community, the tokens, the stuff that the world isn't going to make for us. The personal level stuff, the personal assistant, the description of how it's going to work in your house, that sort of stuff. The basic, the very detailed level of it. And what we do is we put our time into. We don't look at how it's going to work. We just look at what it's going to do and what is the state of correct going to be for that project, that item. And then we just assume that the world is going to create a smart AI with a good harness soon, and that we're going to then give it all of those really, really high detailed intent documents for all the projects we want to make, and then we're just going to feed them to it, and it's going to make it. And the harness and the making it really, really well polished in terms of basically, I think someone is going to make a lot of what we're trying to do in ResonantOS in terms of the make it trustworthy, make it work, make it follow the rules, make it deterministic. I think the world is going to make that for us. And that we need to do the stuff on top of that.
Yes, I agree, Sam. And what is happening is also we can say that OpenClaw could be one of those. Okay, let's think about OpenClaw in 6 months' time, in 1 year time. The philosophy behind OpenClaw is not really aligned with ours. Okay, they really want to push at the moment, the use of those super powerful AIs or the corporation AI. But nevertheless, for the rest, they are building on that same direction of sovereign infrastructure. Not sovereign AI, but sovereign infrastructure. Yeah, Momir. You're muted.
I said, sorry, I have to so much to say. I will try to make it short. Uh, uh, just regarding your question, I will ask you last. The IE we can trust to do what in general? Because just one moment. If we jump into this hectic area of programming, and we try to attract general build community with new people that come and recognize our idea. People will come and say, okay, I'm using Hermes, I'm using pay-per-click, I'm using, I don't know, Agent Zero. There is a great thing this, there is a great thing that, and as Samuel Gray said, we can expect that these things will be done. But on the individual level of a common, normal people, which actually wouldn't understand the word we are talking today, but they are majority, and and I'm really trying to work with people who have some, I don't know, restaurants and hospitality, to have people who are as construction business and architecture, to go on the ground and see what the AI can do for them. And it's amazing. It's untapped territory, and it's not only that we are doing, at least I look at that, not that we are doing something that we need, but if we don't fulfill some other problem and need and make it kind of, high reach and scale it up, we will not get the momentum. We will just be this small group of people who are maybe doing some great stuff for us, but the momentum will get the DAO more significant, So that's what I was trying to tell, to trust for what, This is a kind of not only architectural strategy, but the real world strategy, Like who we attract, who are our early adopters, to have a language of startup, which so because thing that's for everybody, it's for nobody, and that's the wrong thing about, and that's the burden of these big models, because they want to serve everybody, and the local models were mentioned, there are some great guys. This Emad Mostak, I don't know if you heard about him, and they've done small model for medicine. It beats every model on the medicine, everything, and you can have it on your phone, So if we have this kind of maybe niche approach, which then people can connect on the individual level and said, yeah, this is what I do, and that's how I can augment myself doing that. And then it's easy, because if we try to keep up this whole hectic thing, it will solve up by itself, and we can do not do a lot regarding, how it's gonna be solved, but we can keep the momentum and maybe just aim some niches and find some angles to just get the momentum on the areas they don't have in focus. That's how I see it.
Thank you, Momir. Yeah, those are valid points, and let me tell you how I see it. I think we are there are two realities, okay, that are gonna connect at one point. One is at the moment the people that actually using AI at high level, it's around 50-20%, okay, in the world. 50-20% of people are actually using AI at high level, meaning our level, let's say, okay. Most of people are not here, not in this world yet. So what is happening here is those are the early adopters, okay, this 50%. Now, as a 50% is not a small number, means we already pass the adoption phase, okay? So AI is not going to go anywhere, okay? It's going to stay. Now, is going to connect with those other people that they don't want to use AI, they don't care about, they are distracted by other things. But at one point, when AI is going to start taking jobs, when AI is going to start replacing human, when AI is going to be forced on their job to be, they must use AI in their jobs, then we are going to see they're coming towards us. Okay, so it's going to be two different waves, I believe. This is my how I see it, because at the moment using AI requires it's not for everybody. Okay, it's still complicated. Okay, so it's not for everybody. Some people have reaction in the sense the moment that I use AI and it does something stupid, I would say as a credit person, I would say this is not for me. I'm not interested. Okay, I close the door and maybe look at it, at AI in the future. Um, so that is my feeling. Sorry, I see that there is a new person, Yen. Do you wanna introduce yourself through the microphone, through the camera, if you have?
Yeah, yeah. Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay. What's up, guys? Yeah. I don't know. I saw some of your videos online, but I've been doing my own sort of local LLM research and experiments, sort of testing different ideas about the harness sort of setup, sort of testing, using LoRa models and a routing model, sort of looking at the chain of reasoning and kind of benchmark those out on different scales. But I was more like coming to this community because I was just like trying to join the Discord to see if people were like posting any research or stuff like that that they could share to like get a more to sort of accelerate in the shared direction of the research. I don't know if that's like something that this community does. This is like my first time
No
joining or
worries.
anything like that.
So some people are sharing some of their personal work or some researches and that they find interesting. So there is a little bit of sharing inside the community. But if you are one of those that love to share those things and keep us updated, you're more than welcome. I mean, it's that is how we learn from each other. Okay, so you can share your ideas, share other people ideas that you like, and discuss together, and then we can grow. Today it's not the ideal day for two reasons. First of all, we are over time, so we are closing this call now. But in the
Yeah, I
Wednesday,
gotcha.
yeah, the Wednesday is really about this more technical part. Okay, the Thursdays are more about the philosophical aspect and the community aspect, even though there is always
Oh,
some
okay. Well,
technical
could I, before we close out,
yeah.
I hate to do this, but there was something I saw on the website that,
Yes, say.
it was, it was about the, introducing friction to the, I guess, creative output of AI.
Yeah. Do you have a specific question, or you just want to say we want me to
Well,
explain?
who determines the proper amount of friction? It sort of seemed as like the one point in there that stood out to me as a bit more
The creator
contentious
does.
than it was being framed.
So
The creator does it.
Well, maybe I misunderstood that website document. I thought it was more of like a shared values idea of the ideal AI.
there is
Manolo, do you mind if I take this one?
go ahead. Then I have to say
So
something anyway, but go ahead, Sam.
yeah, fair. So the way I interpret that is the point of slowing down is that when I create a program, if I have someone else do my thinking for me and I get an intent, a starting thought, and I go bam, 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 create it, it is probably how I initially intended it, but it's probably not how it should be because I didn't spend enough time in the weeds really thinking about it as I was programming it and iterating it and actually creating it to the real product that I want. If you don't slow down and do something slowly enough, you can't create the thing that you actually want to create as a good creator.
Thank you, Sam. Really
Okay,
good.
I mean,
Yes,
yeah,
go ahead,
that
Glenn.
makes sense to me. Sorry, yeah, I was just saying that that sort of makes sense to me, more as a human moral value of like how we should approach these systems. I don't know. I guess maybe I misinterpreted it. It sort of came across like if it's generating art, it needs to like take time with its strokes. It can't go
So
too fast.
yeah,
But maybe I misinterpreted.
it's not AI doesn't have the time, okay? It doesn't understand time and doesn't have the problem of time.
Right.
It's just compute. So if the CPU goes faster, it's gonna go faster. That is the speed for AI. So it's cycles. So it doesn't matter for AI this friction because time is not part of AI. But what it matters is between human and AI collaboration. Okay, the moment that we work with AI, we as a human, we need the friction because as Sam was saying, it's part of how we become creative, is how we find our own identity and voice. So we need time to build this identity. Okay, so as soon as you have a problem in front of you, you can be instinctive and say, okay, I'm gonna choose this option, or think, okay, and say, okay, now you think about your life, or you think about whatever it is needed for you to find your identity, and then say, this is the right option for me, which is not instinct, it's thoughts. Okay, that is how you build identity. So we, as a human, instead, we need the friction, we need the time to become something. That's what Sam was saying, and that is what we need to do in some scenario to add the friction within AI, so AI slow down and allow us to find our identity. So you can do it by yourself, or you can do it together with AI. That was the idea.
I gotcha. Yeah, I totally agree. It's about integrating with the reasoning of the AI so that we're expanding the sort of set of the reasoning solutions that we can explore. It's not like just some people are talking about it's just going to become like imitation. Like once super intelligence exists, it's just humans imitate super intelligence, but it's actually it's going to be. It's not like that at all. Humans are going to still being very, very relevant.
Yeah, totally. So the idea here is that if we remove that friction, we remove that time, AI is gonna push us to the average. Okay, all of us. So we are gonna all sound and look like the same on whatever we do. Okay, unless we add that friction and we start injecting our identity, and then working with AI will still have something unique. Okay, that is the point. So thanks for this. Actually, it was really good. Nice to have you here, and hopefully see you on next Wednesday. So thank you everybody
Yeah, appreciate it.
for this discussion, and I really appreciate all your input.